Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to announce the winner of this year's Herb Block Prize is John Sherffius. The following are some of the comments from our 3 judges of the Herb Block Prize expressing why Sherffius was chosen as this year's winner. John's work exemplifies the best the art of editorial cartooning has to offer. His cartoons are startling in their imagery, and because of that, they are unforgettable. He draws beautifully, skillfully, enhancing hand-drawn renderings with digital coloring and effects. He has strong ideas that come across clearly. The cartoons are succinct, powerful, honest, and intelligent. And finally, after a press release announcing the winner, Editor and Publisher magazine stated that John Sherffius is one of the most visually striking cartoonists and often conveys his points in memorably symbolic ways without using too many words. You'll see the cartoons upstairs on your way to the reception. Those are the ones that he entered for the Herb Block Prize. Like Herb Block from an early age, John enjoyed art and politics, and he was able to bring them together when he became the editorial cartoonist at the Daily Bruin, the student newspaper at UCLA. After graduation, he worked as a graphic artist and cartoonist for the Ventura County Star in Southern California. And in 1998, he was hired by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch as the newspaper's editorial cartoonist, a job he held until 2003 when he quit the paper over editorial differences. I think Mr. Block would have approved. So, in 2004, he won the Robert F. Kennedy Award, the Sigma Delta Chi Award, and the National Press Foundation's Berryman Award. He's a father to Hannah, Avery, and Kate, and who are in the audience today with his wife, Stephanie, and I believe his proud in-laws. Sherffius's cartoons now appear regularly in the Boulder Camera and are syndicated nationally by the Copley News Service. His editor at the Boulder Camera sponsored his entry into the Herb Block Prize. In a letter to the contest judges, his editor stated that Sherffius's work touches on many subjects, but his cartoons about the Bush administration have been so forceful that we thought it appropriate to enter them as a body of work. This packet seems to be very much in the spirit of Herb Block, as it showcases John's passion for using his art to stand up for the rights of the American people and the responsibilities of the American government. On behalf of the Board of Directors, I'd like to present a $10,000 tax-free cash prize and the 2008 Herb Block Award to John Sherffius.
Thank you. Should I give the check to my wife now, or? Okay. Thank you very much for this tremendous honor. I'll never forget the day I won the Herb Block Award. It started, as I recall, when my red phone rang at 3 a.m. as my children lay asleep. Since neither Barack or Hillary was around, I answered and received the wonderful news from Frank Swoboda. During our conversation, Frank informed me that I was to make a speech. Though there were no rules, he had suggestions. Keep the soaring rhetoric and celestial choirs to a minimum. Just give them straight talk. So, with just a small dose of lofty language, I'd like to say a few words to you tonight. Every day that I have the opportunity to illustrate a cartoon and comment on an issue is a privilege. To receive an honor in memory of one of the giants of our field here in this beautiful and historic library is absolutely incredible. I'm extremely grateful to Jean, Frank, Sarah, Marcy, and the Herb Block Foundation. If winning the award were not enough, the Herb Block folks generously flew my family to Washington for this ceremony. So I'd like to give them their money's worth. Please let me introduce my family. My darling wife, Stephanie, whose love, support, and keen ability to gag at bad ideas helps keep me in this business. Our wonderful children, Hannah, our budding writer and champion of social justice, not to mention an awesome power forward, Avery, my buddy, whose kind heart, intelligent mind, and infectious sense of humor and laugh always make me smile, and our 3-year-old Katie, whose bright eyes can light up a room and whose theatrics ought to win her an Oscar someday. Also joining us here from Boston are my parents-in-law, Rita and Harvey, though the in-law part to me is really just a technicality, and Aunt Debbie and Uncle Michael, all the way from the still contested state of Florida. Thank you for coming, and I couldn't ask for better relatives. My father, Russ, and my Aunt Kathy passed away in recent years. My mom, Lorraine, who lives in Oregon, does not get around much these days, but they are all here in spirit, and I want to thank them for the crayons and coloring books as I grew up. Also for their love, encouragement, and patience with my quirks. There may not have been many other 12-year-old boys who refused to come to the dinner table because they were riveted by Richard Nixon's resignation speech. Though I must admit, despite today's high honor, my mom still wishes I'd become a dentist. Unfortunately, I am the first recipient of this award who never met Herb Block. However, in recent weeks, I've heard plenty from others about Herb's kindness, his humble, quiet manner, his legendary devotion to the craft, and his uncanny knack for forgetting to bring his wallet every time he went out to lunch with friends. But despite never having met Herb, I know him. In fact, I don't think it's possible to be an editorial cartoonist in this country and not have a sense of Herb Block and what he stood for. Before many of us were born, Herb Block's work cast a bright light on corruption and abuse of power. He chronicled the Depression, World War II, the Cold War, Vietnam, and Watergate. He used his pen to fight for civil rights, and as Sarah mentioned, he even coined the phrase McCarthyism. He recognized threats not only to his generation, but to those that would follow. As a father, my children are my greatest inspiration, and my goal as an editorial cartoonist is the same as Herb Block's, in some small way, to leave to the next generation a better country. I wish Herb were here right now, because we sure need him. As you have seen from the posters in the hallways, my cartoon entry this year focused exclusively on the Bush administration, and for good reason. I am angry. The imperial presidency, waterboarding, signing statements, extraordinary rendition, domestic surveillance, secret working groups, partisanship and politics over integrity and competence, outright contempt for our Constitution, and in matters of war, gross misjudgment at best, outright deception at worst. This is not the America I want for my children. This is not the America I know. Well, other than keeping a lid on my soaring rhetoric, Frank wisely advised me to say what was in my heart. So I cannot let this opportunity pass without making a brief observation about our industry. It is a well-known fact that editorial cartooning positions across the country have been eliminated. However, this trend to cut positions has spread to the entire newsroom with devastating results. Top-notch journalists are getting the budget axe at papers all over the United States. Herb Block's strength was his commitment to shining a bright light on our leaders and their policies. The same is equally true of investigative reporters, beat reporters, political writers, foreign and national correspondents, columnists, and photographers. It is grimly ironic that at a time when we have one of the most abusive administrations in power, the press, America's watchdog, is withering from within. Herb Block used his passion to stand up for the rights of the American people and the responsibilities of the American government. Though few, if any, of us will be able to duplicate his legendary career, for the sake of our and future generations, we must continue his work. Thank you very, very much.